This presentation will look at the case study on Maury Travis, which was a serial murder case in the mid-2002 in Missouri, USA, and the theory that I will be using is biological positivism. Homicide is the intentional killing of a person by another person, and a serial killer is when a person commits more than one murder that is unrelated to the previous murder in a different geographical areas as well as at a later date. Positivism is the theory that the use of scientific methods to explain behavior initially used in criminology by physical characteristics and genetics to establish who was a criminal, and biological positivism is the theory that people are born criminal. Maury Travis was a serial killer in St. Louis between April and June of 2002, which he kidnapped, tortured, and killed a minimum of 12 women. The victims were mostly sex workers and vulnerable women. The murders went unnoticed until the police found recordings of Travis assaulting and killing the victims. Police then identified the victims and began an investigation to catch the perpetrator. Due to the broad range and ways of killing the victims, it was difficult to establish a clear pattern. He was eventually caught due to the fact that he sent a letter to the police telling them where they could find another body in an attempt to stay in the media spotlight. The letter included a map which had been printed off Expedia.com, which was only used on Microsoft, and then the police were able to track his IP address. Before the case could go to trial, Maury Travis hung himself in his cell. The USA murder rates in 2002 were 5.6 per 100,000 people, as well as the fact that in 2002, men were most often the perpetrators of murder as well as the victims, with them being 10 times more likely to be a murderer than women. Specifically in St. Louis, there were 331 murders during the year of 2002 and 1,465 rapes, being 5.8 and 25.8 per 100,000 people respectively. Compared to the results of the statistics in 2019, where there was 568 murders and 2,017 rapes. Biological positivism establishes that a person is born with the biological build-up of a criminal. Lombroso did a study on the fact that he believed that criminals had some sort of physical marker or characteristics that could identify them as criminal. After the study, he determined that 30% of the criminals were evolutionary throwbacks or born criminals. When Maury Travis was caught and asked why he did it, he stated that he was born like this. He said that he had been like this as long as he could remember. This is consistent with biological positivism due to the fact that Travis was a textbook serial killer, being intelligent and reclusive from society, not being remembered by his peers, as well as going after weaker women. Travis was also arrested and served time for robberies in the 2000s, establishing the biological need he had to commit crime due to his biological nature. Critics of the theory is that unlike most killers who had these tendencies since birth, Travis didn't torture animals or commit arson, which is abnormal due to the fact that it's such common practice for people who turn out to be killers, or especially ones that show no remorse to his victims like Travis. Not everyone that has these criminal genetics turn out to be criminals. Most go on to live a relatively normal life, and all it does is lump everyone into the same category, stigmatizing them, even if they do not become criminal.